Okay, today I'm going to begin my presentation and I'm going to go through the slideshow and show you different things to explain the class lesson that I did for EDRD 7718. This is Melissa Snell. Our school is Lake Oconee Academy. We're located in Greensboro, Georgia. We're about an hour east of Atlanta, right off of Highway 20 in rural small town. About a little over 3,000 people that live here. We're a charter public school. We actually serve grades pre-K through 8th grade right now, and we have approximately 415 students. We've been adding a grade each year. We're looking at a big expansion at possibly adding a high school. If anyone's heard about us in the news, we've been fighting some different battles with our local school government, and now we're actually going to the town and trying to raise taxes so the town will help pay for our new school. This is a little bit about our mission statement, and we have a culture of very high expectations, and we expect our students to achieve and to try their best. We expect parents to be involved. We expect them to have good behavior at all times. This shows the front of our campus when you come through. We have a little pond and a little area when you drive through at the front. This shows you a little bit of the middle. We have a lot of open spaces. You have to travel between areas. We have a lot of open areas where students can come outside and have outdoor classrooms, do things like that. Just so you can see a little bit more about our school. That's just half of it down there. So in order to share my project, I decided that it might be best to make a website. So most of y'all that are in technology class know that we love Weebly. It's very easy. So you can actually find it at snelledrd7718.weebly.com is where you actually can find my website. It has all my class assignments and everything on it. Under one section called Lesson Plans, you'll find that there's a section here about my unit lesson. And here underneath it, you'll see that I have student KWL charts, I have student PowerPoints, I have pictures from the lesson, and then I have a VoiceThread presentation, which actually I just realized is going to be taken off. It was taking too long to download my VoiceThread, and so that's why I'm using Camtasia and doing this video instead. So that'll actually be changed, and I'll add this onto there, the link for that. But in case you wanted to go back and find throughout the lesson some more examples of items, you can go here. I've broken down the writing lesson so that you can see it in here, just taking the pieces of it and taking captured pictures. So this shows that it's for 3rd grade. The subjects are writing, science, reading, research, and technology. You can see the standards, and like I said, the lesson is posted on my Weebly, and you can go back and read all the different standards that I'm going to be addressing. The objectives here, basically we're using a KWL chart in the beginning to see what students know and what they want to know, and then of course in the end you'll fill out what they learned. And we did this actually as a class, and then they did it individually on their animal. And the object is that students are going to research an animal from China using 5 or more credible online sources, and they're going to be taking notes. We're going to talk about copyright and plagiarism. We're going to talk about references a little bit, and not use MLA or anything like that yet, but just show them how to actually just cut and paste the URLs where they found everything. Students will use the writing process. We'll look at a brain pop that'll explain that, and then they're going to write an informative essay about their animal. They're going to create a presentation. They're going to create a presentation. They can have different alternatives, which I'll explain. And then they're going to present their projects in front of the class and other parents that'll come. And obviously my objective overall is that the students will get 85% or better on the project rubric. And then I also added in a survey, and I want on the questionnaire, I want them to get at least 6 out of 7 questions right. And I'll explain that as we go through it. Materials needed, obviously internet, computers, or devices. KWL charts, however you want to do that. I did some together when we did it whole class. We used the SMARTboard. And then and then we saved it so we can come back to it. And then the students actually did theirs on their devices, or some did it handwritten. Paper and pencils and software programs such as Word, PowerPoint, EduCreations, MyStory, whatever they're going to create their project in. Before the lesson, we used these websites. There was a video, there was a slide share, a brain pop. We also pulled up a lot of different credible, and I showed the kids some great websites that would be good for searching for their animals. And it's difficult to find websites often that are written at an appropriate reading level for kids, and so I found a few and I shared those with them. You'll see some pictures as we go through. This is an example of one of the students, a KWL chart that they filled out. Like I said, all the students did one individually as well as we did one as a whole class just on China and Chinese animals in general. During the lessons, the students are going to decide on their own animal. We'll talk throughout the process. We talked about the internet and research and how to take notes. And each student will do their own KWL. They'll have time to research and note take, gather it. They're going to write their informative essay. Then students will edit with peers, and also the teacher will edit. A lot of times we actually get together with our 5th grade and they help edit our work, which is wonderful. Then the students will decide what program or app to use to create their final product. Most of the students used PowerPoint because we had just done a PowerPoint lesson and done a project pretty recently, so they're very familiar with it. But they could also use My Story, Educreations, Aprezi, Glockster, something like that. And they're going to present their project. After the lesson, students will be graded with a rubric and a survey. I'll explain those. I also did the classes. They were given an index card and they had to write 2 sentences about each presentation after it happened. One item they liked and one question they had for the student, and I handed those out at the end and gave them to the student. We also filled out the learn part of the KWL chart. I'll explain the surveys in the project here. Assessments, rubric, survey, peer review. So here's the project rubric, and this is how the kids were graded. And in my objectives, I stated that I wanted everyone to get 85% or better on the rubric. And this is a part of one of the surveys that I gave at the end, just to kind of find out how the kids liked the project, would they want to do it again, what should I change about it, make it better. So they only filled this one at the end. Then this is a research survey. They actually did this before and at the end. So before, just to kind of give me an idea of what they knew about research. And again, this is cut off. This is not the entire part, but this is all I could get to fit on the slide. And then at the end, I did this again, and there were 7 questions, not counting the are you a boy or a girl. And my objective was for everybody to at least get 6 out of the 7 correct, which they did me. Now we'll go through the videos. This was just on the smartboard. I played different videos to help build background knowledge about China and Chinese animals and the culture there. We also got the students up there and let them work on the smartboard and look at different animals. Really cool things like most of the zoos now have webcams, which are incredibly awesome. The kids can click on it and actually see a panda bear right there and then and what it's doing. And so this was a big hit. The students are just manipulating different things and talking about it and moving through the pages together. Then we also did Brain Pop on writing, and this was a student coming up and helping to pick some answers, just talking about the writing process. Then I went through different websites, how to find good websites. We spent a lot of time talking about that, and these are just a few examples of a slideshow and some different websites that the students had found. Then these are some of our research stations. Students are able to get on here and research, and same thing. And then after that, we started doing the writing process, so help them kind of get all of their notes and get everything out on paper. This shows this. We do a lot of, throughout the school, we have little areas inside, and students are allowed to go out, sit by a window, concentrate, and and write and have their own little space. So we have a lot of these little nooks and crannies throughout the school that students use. And these were some artwork at the end. I also have some, we'll take you out here to my actual website. And let's see here. You can see on my website, I actually have the students' PowerPoints on here. I actually have some examples on here that you can see. So here's my Weebly that I made, and go to class lesson presentation. And under here you'll see everything, and you can actually click here to student PowerPoints, and actually hopefully they'll come up. I have 2 student PowerPoints in here of students that did it. Their names have been changed. I just did give them a name, but they're not the same. But you'll be able to see the giant panda is an example of a perfect score. She did wonderful. The tiger is an example of a child that missed a few things on the rubric. And that's I'll be explaining in my ESLA when I do that. And also you'll see pictures from the lesson, which are similar to what I just did. And like I said, this voice thread presentation is actually going to be this video that I'm going to put there. and student KWL Charts. These were one of them, that one I had shown you, and here's another one about tigers that they did down here. Overall, the lesson went really, really well. Also, on this class page here, you can click on lesson plan and it'll take you to the full lesson plan. The lesson went really, really well. The kids loved it. Obviously, you could tell we didn't do it all in one day. It took several days, even though it's only called a lesson. It took a good week for us to get through it, and some of the kids with the snow, it's kind of been ongoing, and we actually have a few that are still working through the final processes, but it went really well. It was a wonderful project. The kids learned a lot. I learned a lot from the rubrics and the surveys and what came back, and everything was a success. I'm going to continue to build on this information in the class, and I think it's been wonderful. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Hope it gave you some ideas and information, and don't forget to come up here and check out my website for some more information. Thanks so much.